NCAA basketball for Saturday, December 3rd. We got 3 games on the card today. Don't forget to check out our NBA segment, as well as we break down a lot of totals in all the basketball action this year, NCAA and the NBA. Currently, we're doing okay. We're around 500 in the NBA. NCAA has been rolling pretty well overall for the season. Got a nice, decent winning record. So we're going to see if we can continue that today. Don't forget to check out SBR for all the odds, sportsbook reviews, sign-up bonuses, all that good stuff at our website. So be sure to check out SBR. Let's dive into today. We got 3 games. First one up, Xavier versus Baylor, 2 teams that are undefeated, 2 well-coached teams. Oddsmakers have it at 139.5. I think that's too much, so I'm going to go under that total with Xavier and Baylor. Now, both these teams, they play mostly man-to-man defense, but they just play some really stellar defense, and that's why I like for this game to stay under the total. Right now, Xavier, they've been scoring at a pretty good clip, 78.9 points per game. Baylor not bad either at 73.1, but defensively, Baylor's allowing just 58.7 points per game. That is really solid. Xavier 64.1, but that's not bad either. They played some pretty good competition so far this year, but you look at Xavier's, like their last 3 games, they've allowed 55, 42, 59, really, really good. And then we look at, Baylor, where they've allowed 45, 63, 58. And that was versus Michigan State. So Baylor's been playing some really tough defense. Statistically, you got Baylor allowing just 39% from the floor. Xavier's allowing just over 40%. Neither team, is percentage-wise is really lighting it up pretty good. You got, Xavier shooting about 46%. Baylor shooting about 47%. That's great. That's still outside the top 50 in the country, though. And neither team shoots the 3, unbelievably well, with Xavier shooting about 32%, Baylor 33%. So, attempts, Xavier likes to push tempo a little bit more, averaging 60 per game, and Baylor will get up and down just a little bit. But that's kind of a lot of points, and 2 teams that I think match up really well. So they might get there, but I think the defense is going to rule the day in this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and back under that 139.5 with Xavier and Baylor. Next one up, I think we had a slow, really good defensive game. The 2 teams are pretty close to each other here. We got Rhode Island and Providence. Oddsmakers, very low total at 129. Both teams are well coached. Rhode Island, again, they are pretty solid this year, although they lost to Valparaiso. I was a little surprised about that. I'm going to go under the 129 set by Oddsmakers. And I think it starts to make sense when we start breaking down statistically. Both these teams, they're going to play a little bit of zone, which could disrupt the flow a little bit. They mostly play man, but they just don't go very fast. Rhode Island, they're averaging 79 points per game, and right now Providence, they're averaging 67 points per game. That gets us well over the total right there on just the offensive side, but defensive numbers are really good. Providence allowing just 58.3 points per game. They're like 6th in the country, and they're at home in this matchup. Rhode Island, not that great at 68.9. But they're allowing opponents to shoot just about 42% from the field. That's good. And what I like about them also is they're only allowing opponents 22.3 field goals made per game. That ranks in the top 50 of all NCAA college basketball teams. So when I say top 50, it doesn't seem like much, but there's a lot of NCAA basketball teams. So that's really good. Providence is doing a great job as well. Defensively, they're allowing opponents just like Rhode Island, around that 42% percentile, but Providence is not shooting the ball particularly well, just 43% overall. Rhode Island much better at 49%, but they are on the road. Tempo-wise, pretty good pace by Rhode Island, almost 60 attempts per game, but Providence controls it really well, allowing opponents just over 52. So, I like Cooley. I like how he coaches defense. Rhode Island's got a really nice club this year. They're coming off a loss, and they had that Valparaiso game at Valparaiso, they only scored 62 points. So on the road, things got a little bit difficult for them, and I think Providence is better than Valparaiso. We're going to find out today. That's a pretty good Providence club. Well, Providence is better than Valparaiso. I'm sorry. They're just better than them. That was silly by me. So look for Providence to go ahead and do a good job defensively. And, across the board, Providence, they've been really good. I like for this to stay under the total. A couple more statistics, some matchups here, but you got Rhode Island, like when they played Duke, that was a 75-65 total final there versus Duke on a neutral floor. Providence goes much slower than that, though. That's pretty low scoring for a Duke game. So I like under the total in that matchup with Rhode Island and Providence under 129. Keep an eye on that number to see where it moves at SBR. That's going to be interesting to see before tip off where that goes off. where the number finally ends up. All right, last game up. I think it's going to be an absolute track meet here. Here we go. Now we got an overplay. Oklahoma State and Maryland. Turgeon has done a good job with Maryland. You got Mello Trimble. They got some scores. They haven't gone particularly fast, and their numbers aren't that great offensively, but Oklahoma State comes in under Underwood. He came over from Stephen F. Austin, and they've just been going at an incredible clip, and I don't think that's going to change in College Park. I like for them this to get up and down. Oddsmakers have it at 160.5. I'm surprised it's not higher, but I think they get there. You think actually the 160.5 might be a little bit low, so you might want to pay attention to this number as well. But the reason is because Maryland's at home, and they're the better team. They're from the ACC, tough conference. But Oklahoma State's I think Maryland's going to score a ton because Oklahoma State's going to allow it. Let's look at some numbers. We got Oklahoma State. They're averaging 98.5 points per game. They're ranked first in the country. Maryland, not bad, averaging 72 points per game. Maryland's allowing just 69, not great. But Oklahoma State's allowing 82.3. I think Maryland's going to score over 80. And I think Oklahoma State's good enough to go ahead and stay in there. Then we get into their defensive statistics. Good, not great. You got Maryland. They're allowing just over 40% from the floor overall. That's pretty good. But Oklahoma State's shooting over 48%. As well, Oklahoma State is getting up 67.8 attempts per game. They're ranked fifth in the country. Maryland under Turgeon, no problem running the floor. I think they're going to get out in transition. They're going to go. I really think that's the way it's going to work. Maryland, they're not shooting the ball particularly well at just 41%. Pretty good, 48% on their two-point shots, but Oklahoma State's playing no defense. They're really just getting out and running, as far as adjusted tempo and things like that. If you look up those type of statistics, they don't hang on to the ball very long. They want you to get into their flow, and I think Maryland is okay with that because I think they're a little bit more talented than Oklahoma State, so they're going to go ahead and score. Oklahoma State, they're allowing opponents to shoot almost 47% from the floor, so Maryland should take advantage of that. But, look at Oklahoma State. Their last game against Rogers State, they allowed 85 points. I'd like to think that Maryland could score that against them easily. So, look for Maryland to score a lot. The last couple of games, it's been some slow sledding, some defensive trudging games for Maryland. They got beat by Pittsburgh really bad, 73-59. And I just don't see something like that happening again now that they're going to welcome Oklahoma State to come in with open arms so they can get up and down the floor. The game before that against Kansas State, another team that goes, decently slow, is 69-68. So look for this to just be not that at all. They have no problem getting up and down the floor, and I think they're going to do that tonight. So look for the Terrapins to score a lot and get them and Oklahoma State over this 160.5. All right, let's break it down one more time. We got Xavier Baylor under the 139.5. Great matchup, arguably the best game of the day, that and Arizona Gonzaga. I looked at that one too, but 143 seemed about right, so I just went ahead and laid off that one. Rhode Island, Providence under the 129. Oklahoma State, Maryland over the 160.5. There's actually a lot of really good games out there, but I wanted to focus just on three, maybe four. We stuck with three today. Be sure to check out SBR for all the odds, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.